Hello, Takedown community, and welcome to our first community dev blog. Wanted to say hi to all you guys and answer some questions about the game. If you've been following us on the forums, we've been doing a lot of updates about the business side of things and getting that all rolling. But wanted to give you guys the opportunity to ask some questions. We'll be doing two versions of this video, a shorter version for the main forums, and then a special extended edition for you Kickstarters out there. So first off, I want to give a shout out to First off, I want to give a shout out to God, I can't say that. Mean MF for the forums for collating all these questions. I'm just going to kind of blow through some of these and talk about them and try to keep this to probably about 20 minutes, I think. So let's see. The first question is from Mossarelli on the forums. He asks, will you be able to choose more than one attachment for your rifle, i.e. EOTech extended mags, for example, and will ammo affect gameplay, and if so, how? Yes, you would be able to choose one attachment. We're not planning a system where you have to choose, say, between a scope or a suppressor or an extended magazine or anything like that. The system that we're choosing is that each attachment point, whether it is your optics, your suppressor and or barrel, and then say your magazine, would affect the handling of the weapon. So obviously the optics and how they work is pretty straightforward, whether you have a red dot or like a Trigicon or a full-on scope. Just affects zoom level and things like that. But the suppressor obviously would reduce. It actually reduces velocity of the round. It actually increases on most rounds accuracy a little bit, and then of course it's quiet and reduces recoil a little bit. But it's heavier, so the weapon handles a little bit differently. It's not a big change. And then extended magazine, like if we have the new Surefire AR mags, they're just much heavier, and so that affects the handling of the weapon and how quickly you can aim it and fire it and things like that. As far as ammo, yes, ammo will affect gameplay. So Full Metal Jacket, JHP, subsonic rounds. If you're going up against bad guys in, say, level 2 ballistic vests, and you're using a suppressed, say HK UMP with subsonic 45 rounds, it's going to be extremely quiet, so you can kind of shoot that thing all day long without people hearing you. They will have bullet strikes near them. But it's not going to punch through a level 2 ballistic vest, so it'll stop them, and it'll take more rounds to put someone down. So yes, there also may be mission specific limitations or changes. Like if you're, as part of a mission, you're impersonating say a military force, you might be as part of the mission requirements need to use Full Metal Jacket. Let's see. Next one. Flogger23M. Two kind of similar questions. Will the game ship with mod tools, and will there be a mission editor? We do plan mod tools. One of the critical decisions when we're looking at the engines is that it's engines that people will be able to get in quickly and mod. We fully support the modding community. I'm a modder, and we should make those tools available to people. So any tools that we build for ourselves would also be released for the game, as long as they're not something that we license that we wouldn't be able to release. The Oz91. By the way, Oz, you need to get a forum picture. You kind of look like a noob with that blank forum picture. Will only tried and true weapons be in the game, or will you include concepts like the fully automatic AA-12 shotgun or highly modular ACR? We will be looking at new weapons. I think something like the Chris, that is a functional production weapon, would be a weapon that we would consider. We won't be doing weapons that have not gone into production and use by people. So something maybe along the lines of like a Keltec RFB, we would use, make available. Even if it's not being actively adopted by military forces, we would still consider that for inclusion into the game. but we're not going to do something like, you know, what was in Graw with like the what was it, the bullpup caseless round, things like that. If it's still in the experimental stage, that we're not going to consider it for the game. What this a lot of questions about team size. How many players and how large will teams be? As far as teams in SP and co-op, we're still working on the exact numbers, but we're generally shooting between 6 and 8. That's the range of characters that we're looking at to be on your team. As far as PvP, I think our general goal is between 12 and 16 people in the game. We're going to have to do some testing on that, but I think that's pretty realistic. Wow, you guys asked a lot of questions here. The Oz91, since you're indie, will you be going old school when it comes to character animations? I don't really know what you mean by old school. I assume what you mean is the quality and the variety in the animations. You know, animation has come a long way in what we can do, and there's a lot of packages out there and people out there that can do quality mocap and animation for this game, and so we'll be meeting industry standards for that kind of content. No fear. How will the online servers be managed, and what are the plans for managing online QA? Is that, I guess you mean managing online quality assurance? We're still TBD on the servers. We haven't gotten to that point yet. The Oz again. Can you give your opinion on sound design and authentic sounds? My opinion is that sound design needs to be authentic. You know, what you can expect in this game is us either purchasing or recording real weapon sounds to put into the game. We're not going to be adding a bunch of Hollywood, you know, gun sounds. So some of those weapon sounds might sound a little bit different than you're used to. If you've been playing a lot of games that, you know, they go into canyons to record and they really amp things up to bring up that kind of level of excitement, and we're not going to be going that route. As far as general sound design, we're going to put our focus on environmental sound design. So while we will have music at certain points in the game, don't expect, you know, an epic Marty O'Donnell score to be playing the whole time. Rich Douglas is going to be working on our music for us. It'll probably be primarily outside the game, although I think Rainbow Six did a really good job of kind of using music events, you know, to kind of to pump things up and worked well with the gameplay. Let's see. Unseen Death 88. If PvP is round based, will it be even number of rounds with a team switch halfway, or will it be odd number of rounds with no team switch and a tiebreaker round, and then we can play the match again with forced switch teams? Don't know yet. We'll figure it out. One problem that achievements, and I'm going a little wide on this, but one of the problems that achievements can have is they can't affect gameplay, because some people really care about those kinds of things, and so there's a lot of unintended consequences. Like, say if we had an achievement for 100 headshots, well, if you're playing a mission, or say team versus team, and one of the guys in your team is going for that achievement at that time, he's only taking headshots. Well, what happens when you're pinned down? And I've had this happen to me in games before. You know, I'm pinned down behind this car. These guys are laying fire on me. I need you to put some suppressive fire out on these guys. And I've literally had people go, "Well, I can't. It'll ruin my, you know, it'll ruin my hit percentage," or, you know, I'm only going for headshots right now. And so now that achievement is negatively affecting other people's play, and we don't want to do that. So the rewards would be based on game completion, you know, amount of time spent, you know, amount of missions beaten, all that kinds of things. How much time will you spend on AI? That is our primary technical focus. We've identified that as the primary thing that we need from an engineering standpoint for this game to put time into. Everything else about this game, from a game development standpoint, is relatively safe from a scoping perspective. You know, the engine that we're going to use is going to be strong enough to get what we need done. and AI is just the big focus. Could you implement something like the mission of the week content that people can only attempt once? That's a possibility. The building and the architecture to do that kind of stuff is probably not cost efficient. But we could do like weekly leaderboards or something like that to kind of have that kind of contact. That is kind of a marketing thing, and I know some people like that kind of stuff. But we're an indie company, so even if it's just me sitting down and scripting a mission, which I could get done, a mission a week, would be pretty easy once we're rolling. Restricting the content once you release it and trying to take it away, one, that's difficult, and two, a lot of people wouldn't like that. And also, it's not a good use of resources, in my opinion, to have people create content that is going to disappear from the world. It's bad enough when DLC gets pulled off of the console, and stuff that you worked on for months disappears. MVXSSR, do you have any inside information in the arms industry to get the latest and greatest gear in the game? Yes. Okay. No fear. Will we have user-created ranked rooms for clan and team challenges that is free for the community to organize and play at the drop of a hat? Enter a lobby of gamers, pick a fight, create your own war room, and battle it out for bragging rights and pie. Wow, no fear. That's a very cleverly worded question. We do plan to support clans and to build in infrastructure into the lobby system to allow people to have clan games. We think clans are really important. We also are very much interested in talking to the competitive gaming community. I've had some discussions with MLG. Terry, when you see this, shoot over an email to Sundance, and let's try to set up a meeting for E3 for the competitive guys. The Oz91, will there be a quick menu to select weapons and equipment? Yeah, probably. Kenny1550, will there be management sim elements included in your game? Merc upgrades, money system, contract rewards, training courses, etc. There's a big forum thread about this. I'm not sure if it's in Kickstarters or not. Talking about a money system, and I was actually just talking with a producer about it this morning. And I view the money system as a possible feature to look at. But as far as going into like full-on management systems, probably not. We also don't want a money system to turn into an unlocking system, where say in multiplayer you have to kill a bunch of dudes to earn up a bunch of money over the course of the thing to say buy an AWP and go AWP people. We're not going for that kind of economy. I think a closer comparison of what we're considering would be something like Mech Commander, where you can recruit operatives that have varying levels of capabilities, and they cost money. Obviously, if they die, they're dead, they're gone. That's the kind of system we're considering, but that's going to be a little bit down the road. We've got some designs set aside for it, but it's definitely secondary to the gameplay. The most basic implementation is a standard. You have a selection of missions to choose from. You can complete them in whatever order you want. You choose the missions available, whether it's all of them or different groups at a time. And then you go play it, and then if you lose guys, you're still dead. But without an economic system, what it would be probably is you would have a roster of guys that you start with, like 20 of them to choose from, and then after you lose all your rostered guys, then you're into generic not as good land. So I hope that helps answer that question. The Oz91, will the AI be able to use and find cover? Yes. Oz91, will enemy placements and numbers be randomized? Yes. Not fully randomized. We're still going to be. The way you do it is essentially when you script an AI to be active in the map. You give him multiple different spawn locations when the mission loads, and multiple different paths and plans to choose from. So it's not fully randomized, because fully randomized you could end up with 10 people trying to spawn in this room. You know, we approach kind of a mission design from both the players and the enemy's standpoint. So, you know, the way that and this is actually kind of an interesting topic, is that no fear, will there be leaderboards? Yeah, there'll be leaderboards. We'll have to figure out the systems for that. But again, something to talk about with the competitive gaming guys about that. Mozzarella, characters with operator beards like Medal of Honor 2010. Probably not. Can you use Christian Allen's voice and likeness for the training officer if there is one? Do you guys seriously want to see me in the game? Yeah. Lenny, will there be cake? Will there be pie? I like pie. We will hide a cake and a pie somewhere in the game now. Just don't let me forget. Will there be a player customization features, and if so, give an example of one? Possibly, we're looking into that, but it would be cosmetic. But we also want you to be able to choose the different armor levels per level or per mission. So that'll play into how much customization there is. Will Flogger 23M, will weapons and gear be modeled realistically? Recoil, weight, collision, noise, damage, penetration, dry and tactical reloads, reload speed, or will they be balanced? The great balance question. Weapons will be based on how they function. If a weapon is better in some things, when you try to balance things to make sure that every weapon is the optimum for every situation, that just doesn't work for this kind of game. You know, against an unarmored target, a suppressed MP5K is a better weapon all around than a Czechoslovakian Scorpion in 32 ACP. You know, that gun wins every single time. You know, in a close quarters battle, going through this office building and having a firefight, you know, the silenced MP5 will beat an M1 Garand pretty much every time. If you're trying to lug an M1 Garand around here, it's big and it's heavy. Now go out to the end of the parking lot with your suppressed MP5, and now I can sit down and drop you at 100 yards with that Garand, and the Garand wins every time at 100 yards. So no, we're not going to try to balance weapons so that, you know, if you decide to take a 12 gauge and shooting buckshot, and the other guy's wearing level 3 body armor, then it's going to take you a hell of a lot of time to blow through his body armor, and he's carrying an M4 with AP rounds, and who's going to drop you? Lenny, could we get a couple of larger, more organic maps? That's a question I get a lot. We're going to focus, you know, one of the things that we need to do is focus on the core and make sure that this game is what it needs to be. Once we have our core gameplay maps built and done, and have a really good understanding of the budgets and the way we need to construct the levels, then we might consider that kind of thing as kind of one-off expansion of gameplay. We do want to figure out kind of a larger space, especially for multiplayer, but we're not going to be building Ghost Recon levels here, guys. I mean, we're not doing a 400 by 600 Bunker Hill. We're just not going to be. That's not our focus, and so we may look at some larger spaces, you know, like the aforementioned Costco, something like that. But we'll figure it out. All right, so I think that covers it for today. Again, I want to give a shout out to the community team, Rocky and Mean and Tinker and CR and all you guys that I've forgotten some of your handles off the bat. You guys are really doing an excellent job. If you're watching this and you're in the forums, I want you to, you know, send them a private message and let them know that you appreciate all the work that they've done to make this community a live one. It's more alive than a lot of other gaming communities that I know, and appreciate your guys' patience as we move forward and get all this stuff sorted out, and hopefully we'll have some content to show you relatively soon. Hopefully you like the business stuff updates that we've been posting, and I'll continue to do that. So, all right, I'm out. Peace.